14 women. And there were people in the group that Housewives approached. Now, I don't know, I'm not saying they got very far, but apparently, according to Teddy, Crystal said to them, oh, why would you ever do that show? That's like the crazy women, and dissuaded these one here and one there. And then either called Housewives or got approached like, hey, there's one spot. Like, don't do that. You know the type. We've all been there. Oh, I would never do that. And you're like, now again, I like went to law school where people steal your outlines. And it's like, in law school, the big thing was like, first year, like, oh yeah, I like didn't, oh my God, I didn't study yesterday. Well, actually, I saw you in the library for 13 hours. So you did. Like, it's that type of thing where they were like,
right.
It was like, don't do the show. And then truly was like, but I agree with you. She's on my list. Why is Crystal Kung, Mr. Lion King, Rob Minkoff on the show?
Maybe it's just another experience. I mean, that's what it was for me. It was just an experience. And, and for me, I never felt when it was one and done for me, great. I swear to God, I never thought twice about it. I didn't feel like I lost anything. I didn't feel like I really gained anything. It was just an experience. And whereas Teddy said she felt like it was a boyfriend breaking up with her and how she cried. That, I don't know. That's weird.
And I could see, listen, I also think Crystal has spoken before about, like, I don't know, she might've even done it on my show. Like, I can't remember, but like about Asian representation. And I mean, I think that was part of why she did it too. But I agree with you. Like, I'm not one to say no, that if something kind of falls in my lap, I say yes. And then you're like, well, this isn't going to happen. And then, you go through 5 rounds and you're like, no, you actually got it. Like, for instance, I was on Millionaire Matchmaker on Bravo way back in the day. I wasn't interested in dating at the time. I was like, and I got approached, someone I knew was casting it, but they were like, okay, whatever. I'm like, whatever. I don't want to go on this show and have Patty fix me up. But sure, I said, same thing. Sure. Like, you're basically showing up at my house, great, let's do this. And then it was months and months later, and I got a call. Like, I'm about to get on a plane and go to Africa. Like, literally. And they're like, oh, well, like, you're gonna get this. I'm like, what? Like, it's been like 12. Sometimes I think when you don't want something, they can tell, and then you're naturally yourself, and they're like, no, you're perfect for this. That literally is exact example. I mean, granted, that was like one episode. It wasn't, but it was the same thing where I didn't want it. And there were multiple rounds, but I was like, I'm not even trying. Like, this is
right.
And I literally was faking it. I was dialing it in. Like, I'm not in the headspace to date now. And then I got it. And then I was on the show. I'm like, oh, I have to, like, actually, these are real dates. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I mean, at that point, it's too late because you have signed contracts. But I'm like, I don't even really want to do this right now. Like, I just want to, I'll hang out and drink. Like, that part of it sounds fun. But no, you have to actually choose someone and go on like real dates. And I'm like, I'm just not in the mood. So there's an example, really the same thing. Like, something falls in your lap and you're like, this is a once in a lifetime possible experience. Why not?
That's how I felt about it. I mean, in honestly, and I would think that maybe that could be the same thing for Crystal, and I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't in the house, the women in Los Angeles that are against the show and say they don't watch it, that do watch it, those, I mean, it used to be like that where so many people would act like they'd never seen it. I really have never watched an episode. Okay, bullshit. You have watched an episode, you know who everyone is. And that kind of shifted to where people could finally come out and say, yes, I watched the show, but then they would still have to say, I would never do the show. And they have to, judge the women that do it. Yeah. There's no shortage of women in LA that would do that show. They have a huge list of people to pick from. I personally know a lot of women that, went and tried to get on.
Yes and yes. I mean, so yes and yes. So at least we agree. We think most everyone's coming back except Diana. I started out the season liking Diana to me, I have nothing against her, but it was so cringe when she was on the screen. Like, I was just cringing at this reunion.
I felt like she kind of came on, and because of her wealth, it was like a little bit of like a kiss the ring type thing. Like she's coming in with the plane and the shopping and the bags and the houses, and everyone was supposed to kind of bend down to her. And then when it got real, she kind of, showed who she really was, and it wasn't attractive. You know what I mean? And yeah, and I do think that her personality is probably a little bit more of that Eastern European, she's, yeah.
It's not for everyone, right?
No, it's not. It's not for everyone. And honestly, I will tell you, like, it for sure was not for me. I mean, I'm the type of person that I can't let like someone calling me an F and C next Tuesday roll off my back. Like, that is not okay with me. No, not okay.
That would be Erika.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it when Andy said, like, what's worse, being called evil or see you next Tuesday?
And Erika's like, wait. And he's
Really?
like, right. She's like, what? I don't know. You're laughing. Erika's had some funny moments as far as I'm concerned. Like, I understand it's in the editing, but there's part of me that was starting to be like, I kind of get her again. I kind of like, listen, I'm not rolling out a red carpet for her, but I was like, I kind of get it.
She's just a hard chick. She's a survivor, you know what I mean? She's like come up with like a mom that didn't treat her well, she's a survivor. And yeah, but I do not forgive.
You're not warm and fuzzy for her. Well, listen, most people
Not
aren't.
warm and fuzzy. I can't get over the fact that her stance on everything that's gone down. The way she talks about all those victims, that is inexcusable to me. There's no pass for any of it. I don't care what she says that's kind of funny and campy. No. And she knew she was blowing through all that money. Sorry.
Well, yeah. Again, I saw the Pretty Mess tour. I don't even understand how that thing didn't cost. Like, I mean,
it did. And guess whose money it was? Guess who was paying for that?
The victims.
That's exactly. That's the shitty part.
I mean,
she's never getting a pass in my book. I mean, I'm with you though. Like, there's parts of her where I'm like, honestly, I don't want to see her life ruined. I don't dislike her so much. Like, whatever. I mean, it's not a big deal, but do I wish that she would just get her head out of her ass and like say that she's sorry for what her husband did? And yeah, she spent money like it was coming out of the tap. And, there are real victims. If she could just say that would go far. That'd be nice.
And yes, it would be nice. And she even on air next week where Andy's like, but you're appealing him. She's like, or whatever he says. He's like, we're appealing for legal reasons. And he says something else. She's like, you just look and you're like, I get why you were married to this man. I mean, despite the money and all this, like, she is just like she forgets something. She should go to law school, Erika. And I mean, I don't even know if they like, she's just like, yes, we are appealing for legal. Like, she just is so cut and dry. Like I have no heart in here. Like, this is the answer. You can ask me 100. No. She's like basically telling Angie, like, keep asking. You'll get the same answer 3 hours.
Same answer. Yep.
You don't play. Yep. She don't play.
No, she's, and it's really funny. I always, when we met him, her husband, Tom Girardi, and everyone was kind of in the beginning, I remember like so smitten. And I remember thinking, this is a glorified, wealthy ambulance chaser. And if you look at the movie Erin Brockovich, he was portrayed as just like as a seedy little redneck, whatever guy, and who's, tits and ass Erin Brockovich helped him make all this money. And then he took the ball and ran with it, right? I'm not saying anything. Good job for him. And I'm sure he's made a lot of people money who rightfully deserved it. But, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't personally understand how Tom Girardi, I think it was a lot of, the money in LA of people, the power. Yeah.
yeah, no, they kissed his ass
Yeah.
and let
I
him
just, yeah.
get away with it all. Like I had Gloria Allred on this podcast and Lisa Bloom separately, and she was like, Tom was no one saw, and she knew him. She was like, he was the so well received, and I think just a lot, maybe more people knew. They just all turned the other way, like talk about, you know, I agree with you about Kathy Hilton thing. So like Lisa Rinna, now I've heard something. So Lisa Rinna just parted ways with her publicist.
Why?
Well, I heard something.
Oh, do tell.
Well, they're saying that it's because